All right, family, welcome back to another episode of Documented Dreams. This is episode 6, and my name is Jenelle Hanes. I am the founder and owner of Just Be LLC. I'm also the proud president of Eagle 7 Early Risers Toastmaster Club. And so this is my opportunity to share with you some people that are near and dear to my heart, and I just love their stories. And we're here just to provide an opportunity for them to document their dreams and share about some of the things that are so important to them that they have either turned into a business or just turned into a beautiful life story. And today I'm super excited because I have Nikki Harvey, aka Nikki B, to me. Know her for some time now, and she is doing some awesome things in her life and for her family, in our communities. And I just wanted her to be able to share her story here today. She is the owner and founder of Investwell. She's going to tell us personally more about what that is. She's also a realtor. She's had a variety of experiences growing up, as well as building her career in the remodeling space, if you will, or she's also a designer in her own right. At least I like to think about it that way. But she can tell us more about that. So we'll just jump right in. Nikki, could you please tell us, if you were going to introduce yourself to some person, you had this 1 to 2 minute speech on the elevator, what would that speech be?
Oh my gosh. I probably would tell them I'm a realtor and an investor and a mom. I mean, I would probably keep it very brief.
Realtor, about that. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to be a realtor, investor, and a mom?
From the real estate standpoint, it's connecting people with homes or selling homes for them to move on. You almost become like family for a short period of time. You're like the best friend for a little while. Investor, we buy properties, we fix them up, we sell them. We're in the process of keeping some for rentals and going into the commercial space. So that's where Investwell kind of comes along. And then, of course, mom, because probably if I'm in the elevator, I will probably have one of my 3 children with me, more than likely.
Right,
so that might be rather obvious. And that's a lifelong thing. So, yeah.
I love that.
Once you got them, you don't send them back.
Oh, no. There's no turning back. You are a parent for life, as they say. I think it's so important that you said, family and then best friend, because if we're going to build a relationship where I'm going to put you in a place or help get you into a place where you feel comfortable, right? Or you feel like you can welcome other people in, it has to have that familiar feel. And I think one of the beautiful things about you is one thing I know for sure is that you're an awesome friend. You are one of the best friends. And so I would absolutely want to work with someone who's going to put me in a space where I get to invite my best friends, my family, and those that are close to me in a space where someone has helped me get to that place, right? And so why not have Nikki be that person? So I think it's just a perfect marriage for you to be in that space where you get to connect people and help them create a warm space. So, when you're doing that, what are some of the things that you learn about your customers that make it, to help them create that space?
I really just try to listen to what they're wanting, whether it's the buying side or the selling side. And then I like to be very honest with them about the expectations based on what they want, what they can afford, or if they're selling. I want to be straightforward so people won't, say, why did you say this? Why did you say that? So for me, it's that. And it works for me because in some situations, I kind of have to bring them back in, where someone may say, well, I think I'm going to just do this. And I'm like, yeah, but you said you wanted blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, I'll say my spiel. After that, it's kind of their decision. Yeah. But I don't want to just throw someone into a house or have them sell it for less than, or maybe if it needed extra work or something that, I just want to be realistic with my clients.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. And so how long did it take you to get to this place where you knew, it was important for you to build those type of relationships and ask the right question? How long did it take you to get to this place where you said, where I can do that, where I can make these connections and thrive, and this is the space, real, a realtor, an investor, a buyer, a seller. How long did it take you to get to this place?
Man, it took a while. I got my license in 2011. And I think for me, it started back maybe a year after school or last year in school. My mom and my sister, we went to the parade homes and we were looking at all of the $1 million houses. And then it kind of became like a little hobby where we would go on the weekends and look at houses or look at neighborhoods. And I never got tired of doing that. They were like, look, we're ready to go home. I'm like, wait, we're going to go down this one more street. And I just really enjoyed it. So it got to a point where it's like, you know what, maybe I should look into this as something career-wise, because I never really get tired of looking. So I did end up getting my license after I got married. My husband encouraged me to do so. I was pregnant with baby number 2. And just kind of went from there. It was a slow build because I had a full-time job still. And he really, where I am now, really is because of him, because he kind of pushed me to get out of my comfort zone with social media. And that was just not my thing. So, he was like, I think you need to, kind of reach your audience more. And I'm like, I'd like to be a little more private. But that really kind of catapulted me to being more sustainable with the career of real estate.
Nice. It's always nice to have that person who's like, no, I see this. And and you trust them, right? Because people see that's all the time. And they're like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But it's always that one person who is to give you that right, is the right person to give you that advice. Or, you trust them enough to say, okay, I'm going to try it.
Right.
And it's beautiful to have that as a partner. That's a whole nother conversation. That's
a
whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Because that takes time too, right? And so, that leads me to my next question. Who believes in you the most?
Definitely Flip, my husband, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, we had a really good friendship before we became more. And so he's a safe space for me. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, we just kind of push and pull each other, so to speak. Yeah. I guess the yin, the yang, whatever you want to call it. But
no, that's
so
beautiful.
Yeah,
that's nice. So if you were to have your story told, at what point in your life would that story start? And then who would you have tell it?
Oh my God. I don't know, because back in the day, I would say, I would want to have it start when I was younger, because, I grew up with all of my cousins. We were like sisters, and we just had like the craziest adventures. You were a part of some of those. And it would probably be so fun to see, on television. Yeah. But where I am now is just totally different. I guess maturity and growth. Yeah. So that would be very hard to choose. I guess maybe now, because I've evolved more. Versus being young and fun. It's still fun, but just a lot more wiser.
Yeah, because you're definitely lots of fun. Like I would be devastated. I would be devastated if somebody was like, well, Nikki's not fun anymore. Excuse me, what? No, you're not talking about my friend. Let me see her for myself. Like, I'd be trying to find you. I would not believe it at all. And I'd be trying to find Flip, because I'd be like, you did it to my
girl, look, I'm trying to be fun until the day is over. Yes. Until the party stops.
Exactly. Still eating brownies, cakes, and Rice Krispie treats. Yes. All the things out the bowl.
Yes.
What, congeal? What? No, I want it right now. Give me my bowl right now. That's awesome.
Gym the next day.
Oh yeah, the guilt would quickly settle in, for sure. Okay, what is one fact that no one knows about you?
No one knows, but at one time I wanted to pursue acting and be a stylist. So I don't know. Do you remember when I was in was it Dark Testament in high school? Do you remember that play?
Oh yes.
Okay, so I had a leading role in the play.
Okay. And
which is odd, because as extroverted as I am, speaking in front of people, singing, doing all that, like I don't know, I kind of clam up. So I really enjoyed that to where I considered like, maybe when I go to school, I'll do theater or I'll move out to LA. Plus, I enjoy fashion. So I'm trying to figure out, do I do, styling or try to do acting or singing? But that's something I never really shared with people because I was scared to do it. I wasn't the kind of person you'd be like, girl, sing me a song on Spotify. I was like, that would not be me. So I kind of kept that to myself. If I became successful, then great. But other than that, that was like a me, myself, and I kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool. I love that. That's one of my favorite questions to ask because you never know what people are going to say, especially when you think you know someone and then like, but I know there's something. Ooh, there's something. Okay, what is your personal mission?
Really to try to be kind. Ooh. I am not always successful with that, but I try to be kind and keep it just, that's a free thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not kind or they don't get kindness, so that's what I try to do.
So what would be your one word to describe yourself?
Fun.
Absolutely. I want to dig into that just a little bit. And the reason why, you don't need me to affirm you, but that was probably the biggest draw, right? Because I love to laugh. I love random laughter,
right?
And kindness. And
right.
I could always count on that with you, no matter how crazy things are. I have a coworker who kind of reminds me of you a little bit, but she'll, it'll be a rough day and she'll say something like, but guess what? You could be ugly. And I'm like, who? That would be something that Nikki would say all day long.
Yeah.
Like, yes, absolutely. You need those type of people in your life to find the silver lining, the fun. And you're also good at laughing at yourself, which is something that, keeps us humble. I appreciate that about you because you showed me how to do that at a young age, because it's so easy to get embarrassed. You fall, in front of everybody, you run into something randomly,
right?
Hoping people don't see, but if you pause and laugh at yourself in that moment, it just kind of eases the embarrassment.
It does.
Of like, really not that big of a deal. And so that is absolutely one of the things I appreciate that you have been consistent in and that you always do. You can laugh at yourself, you can laugh at us, you can help me find a way to laugh at myself. And it's almost like a moment, but but you could be ugly kind of thing. That's the energy that it gives. And I am truly grateful for that, being a part of our relationship. So with that being said, we're talking about relationships and you being a really good friend and you making people feel like family. So who would you have, in sports, we always have the starting lineup. You have the best six man, you have all these awards. Who would be in your starting lineup? And you don't have to name them specifically, but maybe tell us some attributes of people that would be in your starting lineup.
I think I would have probably an eclectic variety lineup wise, because I think my circle now, I might be the craziest friend now. It wasn't always that case. So the other friends are more voice of reason. And so definitely my sister would be one. You would be one. My cousins, would be one. My friend Sonia, who you've met, which I have to take her with a grain of salt because she may be a little crazy like me. So I have to I have to take that, just, but they're the ones that normally I would kind of go to outside of, my husband and my mom, because moms give mom advice, which is very different from friend advice. Yeah. So they would be the ones I would probably say with my starting lineup. If I, needed something, they would be who I would go to.
Yeah. So, you're talking about your lineup, and you brought up your cousins quite a bit, and I think that's another connection we have because me and my cousins grew up very close too.
Yeah.
And you had your sister cousins, your brother cousins.
Yes.
Those relationships are invaluable.
They are.
And that's like the start, the training ground for
It
being
is.
a good friend, you know?
It is.
Because you're blood, so you almost have to just interact in many
Yeah.
instances, or at least our parents created an environment where you were going to be with your cousins, but to
Yes.
be able to call a cousin best friend, I think is it's an additional blessing, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because it's understood. I got a cousin, I got family, and I know they support me. But to be able to call them like I would call a friend, that's
Right.
something that you cannot put a value on it, honestly.
Right.
So, talk about that. What was that building like? Was it organic, or did I mean, I know how family, we can fall out, we can fall in love, and
Yeah.
fall out of love, but
I mean, honestly, I can't remember a time where they weren't there. I mean, I have a picture from my first birthday party, and Brandy and Christina were at my first birthday party. And so we were just, I mean, that's all I really ever knew.
yeah.
And so, I mean, we just, we'd be at grandma's together. We go to each other's houses, even when we got older, even you would come and hang with, we kind of had our core friend circles and then like other friend circles, and they would kind of intermingle sometimes. Like Brandy had her set of friends, had my set of friends. Sometimes we would hang out with each other.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of dirt and good and fun and bad together. And even through college and adulthood, like, our husbands all get along. We had children at the same time. We actually have a group chat that we chat probably almost every day, if not, every other day, but just us, just the girl cousins.
Yeah.
And so I just can't imagine the time where they weren't there. We vacationed together. Our kids grew up together like we did. So it's just really a nice thing, and definitely blessed that we all stayed in the same area. Nobody really, I think if they moved away, they may have come back after a short time, but everyone is still local. So that's also nice as well.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Jerry and I try to be intentional about, having those cousin times for our kids. And so they're really close to my brother's sons.
Yeah.
And we were intentional about that. And then also building relationships. Jerry doesn't have any nieces or nephews, outside of my family. And so we try to make sure that the cousins that he's close to, they also have a relationship with, because, you never know. We don't live in North Carolina anymore, but the opportunity to go back, you want to feel like you're still in a home setting, right? So I think that's so beautiful. Okay, we're going to change gears a little bit.
Okay.
One of my favorite quotes is, "We often teach what we must learn. When you learn, teach." And that's a combination of Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey. And, when you hear that quote, what comes up for you? What do you think about?
Okay, repeat the quote again.
Yeah. "We often teach what we must learn. When you learn, teach."
When I hear that, I almost feel like it's, how you kind of give advice to people, but you also are, I don't want to say need to take it yourself. It's a growth for you. That's kind of what that reminds me of. When you're telling somebody something, you're like, wait a minute.
As I ministered to you.
That has ministered to me as well. Where did that come from? That's to me what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Just kind of that wisdom that you spit out.
Yeah.
That you didn't know was there. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I needed that myself.
Yeah. It's like that surprise inner wisdom came out of you, and like, oh, wait. Okay. Yeah. Your chest get a little bit bigger, your shoulders. you set your shoulders back with some different type of
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love it. What is your best or your first childhood memory?
I don't think I really have one. I have so many, I can't pick just one.
Okay.
So,
that's fair.
I just, my husband likes to say we grew up like the Cosby. So it's just too many moments for me to single out just one childhood memory.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I would agree. If I was answering that would be hard, because, and it's funny you said the Cosbys, probably another example of, attracting like-minded people or families. and being able to honestly sustain our relationship and our friendship because of some of that similarity. And I was talking to a friend the other day who said, she felt like we were the Cosbys. And this is why, and I'm shifting gears just a little bit, but this is why I think college is so important, because you meet people from all different walks of life, and it humbles you, right?
It does.
And one of the things that she thought was many people came from divorced families. Like, she thought it was the norm because that's what she grew up with, and that's what her friends were dealing with. And she came to the house and met my parents. It was like, whoa, this exists. There are whole Black families, and it humbled me. I'm gonna tell you, to such a degree, because that was my norm.
Yeah,
right? That we had very few friends, very few friends who were not in a 2-parent home. No matter what that 2-parent home looked like, there were few of them, and I just feel so blessed, but also very humbled that you just never know. Who you're going to meet or what someone is going through and what your family can do for someone else. And honestly, these weren't her exact words, but I feel like it provided some hope that, this can happen. You know what I mean? This, I see the goodness that can come from this type of environment. And I don't want to blow it up like my family is perfect, because it's not. I'm just saying that it still just humbled me that someone thought about my family in that way, and that I had this thing. And I don't want to take it for granted. And it just kept me really humble. And again, to know that there's another Cosby-like family. Somebody else had, heard that same comment about their family. It makes me feel blessed, because it helps me understand. And it also affirms that this is how we came to be where we are today. The success that we have as wives, mothers, partners, business owners, and all the things, all the careers that we've had. We would not be here without the success of, without supportive family and the success of what family does. And so just wanted to add that tidbit. And I think it's cool that, people look at us that way. It's like, I wish I had the Cosby money, but okay.
Okay. Yes.
I'll take it. What's the hardest decision you've ever had to make?
Probably having Jasmine in college, because first of all, growing up, having a baby out of wedlock was a big deal. Now I know it may be a lot more accepted and common, and accepted not in a negative way, but just not shamed like it was when we were coming along. And then also growing up in a household where, my parents were pastors, so I was a pastor's kid, and just what comes along with that. So that was a hard decision. It was my junior year in school. I was rising senior, and her dad at the time did not want me to have her, and didn't want to have anything to do with the pregnancy, and not wanting to put that burden on my parents, and just really kind of the shame of it. That was a very difficult decision, and to still be able to finish school and not path a different path, but still not derail me of what I wanted to accomplish. So that was hard.
Yeah. How did that decision shape you?
I never really thought of it that way. It was really kind of, I made my choice, and I just kind of picked myself up and moved on. Obviously it shaped me because I'm responsible for another person. Yeah. And that, having that fear of a parent, of something happening to you, I've never felt that kind of fear before having a child. Because there was really nothing I had to be responsible for to make sure it lived and breathed and, excelled. But I don't know that it shaped me so much as me just, getting up and moving forward, which I have a tendency to do. And in some situations that's good. And in some situations I'm like, all right, you got to give yourself an opportunity to really grieve or deal with the issue. Because I'm just so used to kind of like, okay, let me just keep going.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. Have you said that out loud before?
No,
Mm,
I have not.
mm, yeah. I don't know. I felt something in that moment. I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very real because I think part of the feeling I that kind of was today in church. There was a lady. We were in the balcony,
Yeah.
and we were in church, and there was a lady who was pregnant, and she had another little child by her, and may or may not have been her child, but she was just rubbing her belly, and she probably was, any weeks now or any day now, and she was just rubbing her belly, and I distinctively remember being so afraid to have the baby.
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling like I don't have a choice. I know how I want this to happen. But I gotta push. I gotta do, you know what I mean? Like I gotta breathe.
Yeah.
All these things. And I just remember having that fear, but then that moment, to your point of keeping it moving, like we're here now. Like it's go time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And doing what we have to do to bring another life into the world. But that fear is very real. And I think that, God did not give us a spirit of fear. However, there's sometimes we need to sit in it, right?
Yeah.
And feel it so that, one, you can recognize it later. But the other thing is building that muscle that moves you forward. And I think when you said that, I though that wasn't my part of my story, but I get that being an additional part of the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so I thank you for, sharing that and being transparent.
No, you're welcome.
That's a very real thing to have to do, and
I
also feel like it's a blessing that we get that experience.
Yeah.
Like we are the ones, not that a man can't have something that he goes through, but God doesn't make any mistakes. He intentionally made the woman to have to do this thing.
Right.
And just some parts of it, I still won't understand, but I also have a full appreciation for being the one that was chosen. You know what I mean? Do you think that was part of the thing that pushed you along? You've been in the church. You've been raised by, two parents who were pastors in the church. Do you feel like that spirit was on you, like this getting up and moving or moving to the next thing was because you were covered?
Some of it, I think some of just my personality of just, I'm going to keep doing what I have to do or move forward. Like I've always been an aggressive person and I'm going to just keep going. So some of it I think was just me, like I remember I worked 2 jobs. I was going to school full time. I leave class, go to one job, leave that job, go to the other job, and I would get home about 2:30 in the morning.
Oh my.
And my mom begged me not to do it. And I'm like, I don't want this burden to fall on you, because I'm not able to really take care of this child, So for me, it was just kind of like, I had already made up in my mind, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to still go to class. I'm still going to do this. And I just didn't think about it. Now, if I try to do that now, I would pass out. I don't know that I don't know that I could do that now. It was one of those, I didn't know I had that kind of strength kind of thing, because I don't know that I could do that now. Like I mean, if I stay up at 12 o'clock now, I'm like hurting for a few days. I just, so.
Start with me out around 10:30.
I just, But it was a very humbling experience. I even had gotten on the census at that time. And I remember going down there and seeing people that we went to school with who were kind of looking at me like, what you doing here? And I'm like, look, just leave me alone. Mind your business. Mind your business. I'm here to get what you're getting. Right. And I mean, it was temporary. Get what you getting. It was a temporary thing. Hey, I'm just saying, like, what you looking at? What you looking at?
Watching you, watching me. Like,
right. No, why you worried about me? But it was just trying to make sure I did what I need to do until I could get a full-time job and be, more financially stable. So, it was just, but I do that in general. Like when things happen, I just kind of pull up the bootstraps and I just go and try to make it work or move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I can appreciate you, wanting to, relieve your parents of some, you know what I'm saying? Some
Yeah.
burden. I think I'm sure they appreciate that, but they were also like, well, Nikki, we got you. But you also were like, but no. This is my thing. This is my responsibility, and to me, that's a sign of great parenting too, that you were able to, have that level of humility, but also take that high level of responsibility,
Yeah.
Because I too, would feel, I remember having to go and apply for unemployment and just looking around feeling like, how many people in here have been treated unfairly? And now I'm sitting beside them because I'm one of those people, and only to be denied.
Right.
So, no, I so appreciate that, you sharing that. So what is your legacy?
I think it would be, I would say my kids. If I can, that's something I wrestle with, right? Because I think as a woman and a business owner trying to be successful, it is a very tricky balance. I was just talking to my husband about that the other day. I'm like, man, I just, part of me wants to go, but then I got these little ones that time is going to go, and I don't want to regret not being there for them for the sake of me being successful. Yeah. And if I'm successful, but they're not, then, what does that say about me?
Yeah.
So to me, my legacy would be their success. And it doesn't necessarily have to be them being a successful business owner. I want them to be happy, healthy individuals contributing to society in whatever way that, they feel led to do, without the pressures of saying, oh, you got to have your doctorate, or I need you to be an attorney, I need you to be a surgeon. I really could care less about that. If they decide to be trash collectors and they're happy and they're good at their job and doing a good job and they're successful, then that to me would be my legacy, that she did right by her children. That's really what I want.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Who's the person in the trenches that gets the least amount of credit?
The person probably Flip, probably my husband.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably him.
I hear that. Yeah, okay.
It's definitely him.
If you were selected for, let's call it the Realtors Hall of Fame, and just like in the NBA, when they are elected to be in the Hall of Fame, they can choose who stands beside them when they give their speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who will be standing beside you when you give your speech?
Definitely be Flip, because we built this thing together. And, he wasn't really involved in real estate before we got together, but we share the same passion. And for him, it's kind of all or nothing, Every now and again, I'm like, oh, maybe we need plan B, C, D, and E. He's like, look, plan A gonna work, okay? I don't want to hear it. Plan A gonna work. So it definitely would be him, because, again, he really kind of took me from one level to so many others.
Yeah.
And I would not be where I am right now, obviously without God, but without him really giving me that push and encouragement.
Yeah. Would you say that he took your confidence to a different level?
He did, and he took my exposure to a different level.
Okay.
He really did. And the one thing I would say about him, because we had totally different backgrounds growing up, and I really admire the self-growth that he puts in himself, and always trying to do better and grow better and be better, and we're constantly checking in with each other, and he's using that growth to even prop me up in our real estate business. So definitely he's a lot more involved and hands-on than people probably know.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I love that. It's a beautiful thing. We can find a partner, someone to do life with, who's not just doing life with you. They're also, you're producing fruit
Yeah.
from many places. And
Yeah.
That, again, an invaluable part of life. And everyone, doesn't get to have that experience. I'm glad and blessed to hear that you're having that experience. So what group of people, with your legacy and, you building this family field type of business, what group of people do you hope to inspire? Or did you already have an intended group of people you wanted to inspire?
I would say two groups, and one of them may be kind of odd, but the first group would definitely be young Black women, right? Because I think I have a story with coming from the Cosby family, being a single mom, getting to this place where I am today, because everybody has a story. Like, you don't know what people have gone through to get to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely say the young Black women. I would like to be relatable and someone who can impart some wisdom to them in that regard. But the other group, oddly enough, I would say would be Caucasians, because I want them to see this brown, successful woman and break the stereotypes that they may have. We have a award ceremony with my Fathom, which is a brokerage company. And, they have food and everybody socializes and all that. And I didn't go at first, but then the last couple of years I have gone. I've gotten one of the top producer awards.
Nice.
And I mainly go because I want them to see this brown face. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, because it's not very many of us that are, at least in my firm, I can't speak for others.
Yeah.
And so I want to kind of break that stereotype. Like, anytime I get a client that is not a person of color, it's always shocking to me, and I know it shouldn't be. Unfortunately, I feel like they could have gone with anyone. Mm-hmm. For them to pick a Black realtor, to me, really says a lot about them and their belief in me and their trust in me. Mm-hmm. And it's nice that they get to know me on a personal level. So if there's any negative images or thoughts or interactions that they've had with people of color, hopefully I can change that. I mean, even my husband has had some of his friends who are like, look, when things were going on with George Floyd and all of that, and even now, they say, man, I didn't realize that kind of stuff happened. Like, they felt safe enough to ask him, can we talk? I want to know.
Yeah.
And that I thought was huge, that they were open to learning about the different struggles it is being a person of color in this country. Yeah. So again, that may be an odd group, but I want them to see us in a different way.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely not an odd group, because now more than ever, it's so important for them to search for that understanding.
Yes.
That, Flip was able to have an opportunity to do, but also just see the other side,
right,
of what the news portrays or what they've always known,
right,
they knew to be true about
women
of color.
Correct.
Women of color. They already knew it was out there for Black men.
Yeah.
Even to the point of success, right?
Yeah.
Because they were still put out on the forefront. If we go all the way back to, the 13th Amendment,
right,
deciding that I am a person and I'm a citizen of the United States of America. Before we could even get a place,
right,
took the Black men in that place before you would take a female, let alone a Black. And so I think that desire is absolutely not odd, and I think more of us should join that bus with you. And I would absolutely be the first to sign up, and I support it. I love that. And I'm glad you said it out loud. I appreciate that. So we're almost done.
You're good.
So this portion of the show is called Finish This Statement. All right. So you're going to finish the following statements.
Okay.
I'll say each one and then you'll finish it. So I'm
okay.
going to roll them off and then you got to try to remember. All right. I am.
I would say fearless. Sometimes. Most of the time.
That's what came to mind. I would argue that is all the time. All right. My favorite song is
Billie Jean all day.
Yes.
Girl, you know.
Yeah,
I
was
hear that.
I'm saying her like, no, that's right.
I'm about to act straight fool. They put on some Billie Jean. Like it came out last night.
I love it. Okay. My why is
definitely the kids. And well, twofold. I would say one would be God, because I do want to be a positive representative. Mm-hmm. And the other would be my children.
I love that. People think I am, but I am really.
So people think I'm wild and crazy, which that is true. But I can be very private, and I don't think people know that. Mm. So I have this ability, and it's not intentional, but I can really get to know someone without them really knowing me. Mm. And I'm more private than, I don't think people see that because I'm so silly, wild, crazy, funny. And even though I can be loud, my business is discreet, if that makes sense.
I can see that. Mm-hmm. There's some scenarios that come to mind. But that's not for the podcast. Okay. Last statement. I get really nervous when.
Definitely the public speaking, which is so bizarre to me because I'm such a people person. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to, when I was talking about the acting and all of that. Like, I don't have a problem speaking to someone one-on-one or in a group setting. I'll just act cut up. Yeah. But the moment that somebody wants me to speak in front of people, it's just like I have to really kind of gather myself. So, yeah.
Okay, if you would, before we sign off, tell us about Investwell and how we can connect with you in that business.
Well, Investwell is kind of my baby. It was again, we started off doing rehab, and we still are doing that. You could connect with me at investwell.com. Our goal is to not just rehab, but we're trying to give someone a home. And, we in a society today where you have a lot of flippers and investors, and, we try to go a little extra with ours. We try to make sure we're not cutting any corners, making sure that we address major issues. I mean, a lot of times we will put a lot more into our properties that cut our profit just to make sure that we're doing the right thing by somebody. We want to do something with integrity. So, if anyone had a property that they wanted to sell or in some kind of trouble, or they could just reach out to us. Even if it's something that we can't do, then if someone, especially if they're in trouble, we definitely would try to connect them with the right person. So yeah. Awesome. It's still growing. It's still new.
Yeah, no, that's good. But people need to know, because I think the business can grow when you're helping people. It's like we talked about earlier. You make a statement, or you provide advice, and you feel yourself grow when you're speaking about it. And I think business is the same, because you don't know everything. Everybody's going to be different and have a different need. And so having the opportunity to do some research and learn something new can only be beneficial for both, and so you never know, you might see that type of scenario again. So I think that's awesome. And I just want to thank all my listeners for listening to Documenting Dreams with my guest, Nikki Harvey, aka Nikki B, my neighborhood bestie from North Carolina. And I just want to thank you for being here. I love you so much. I'm grateful for this friendship that we've cultivated for more than 20 years.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And you were definitely one of my first best friends when we moved into that neighborhood, and that has not changed. And I'm forever grateful for that. You are a gift, and I truly believe you're walking in your gift, and God is going to bless envy because of that. And so thank you for all the things that you're doing. And I can't wait to hear more.
Oh, thank you.